Hello everyone, welcome back for some more thrift store finds starting this week. This week hopefully is going to be nuts the whole way through. This is the final week. It is here now where our favorite thrift store is closing. Like the big bargain bins that are huge for the area. And man, it is doom and gloom waiting in that line. Everyone is just so depressed about it. I've been going there longer than I've known my wife. It's really sad to see that going away, but going to be going just about every day this week. There's going to be videos up and hopefully going crazy until they stop getting trucks. They haven't. I talked to the manager and no one really knows exactly when the last day is going to be. The last stuff rolls in, so we will see. I'm going to try and go every day until they basically are done. And start off with a bang, a huge mountain of media. The mountain of media that we have keeps growing. If you've been watching these videos, you like this type of content, the past couple of months have been insane with DVDs in particular, just media in general, but the DVD selection that we've been adding to the store and the insane backlog that I have trying to just build up as this big source is closing up. It's crazy. I've did hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds, probably between DVD, VHS, Blu-ray, like easily like 1,500 between what's listed, what's not, what's on different stores. Easily might be over 2,000 now with what I got today. It's just crazy, but I've been loading up and the deals have been great, and this is sort of one last hurrah till it goes away. I'll start with the DVDs. It's weird. The employees are basically making up their own prices this last couple of weeks before this thing closes. The one just put it up and for a few bucks you're out the door. Another one, she has $13 every time. I've had her 3 times since we know it's been closing. $13, no matter what it is, every time. And the guy I had today, sadly, neither of those ladies were working. I was like, so I didn't get quite as good a deal as the other times, but still, basically I put a cart, actually had a cartload this time, put the cart on, here's how much it weighs, here's how much it would be, half off. So half off already, the point where you're spending like 15 cents or less per DVD, and then half off everything for that. So it was still a crazy good deal for everything I got here today. And then a few things in the main room. So we're going to start with the DVDs because they're right here, and I have I'm putting my hand on big stacks, and then a ton of music CDs, all kinds of stuff. The only thing I didn't find much of today was books, but thankfully I had a big book sale and stuff recently, so that's alright. So we'll go through with stack 1 of the DVDs. We have The Fair-Haired Child, starting off with a freaky looking horror movie. I've never heard of this one, but this actually might be one that we will check out. I don't know. I feel like Amanda might want to watch that one. The regular version of the Boondock Saints and Boondock Saints 2. IQ. V for Vendetta. Schwarzenegger in Eraser, the old snapper case version. My Big Fat Greek Wedding. The original version of The Manchurian Candidate and Righteous Kill. Director's cut of Dawn of the Dead. Bride of Chucky. One of the more humorous of those movies. When Harry Met Sally, good comedy classic. A horrible remake of a good Disney movie. We have Race to Witch Mountain with The Rock. Speed 2, the boat one, the unnecessary sequel. March of the Penguins. This is a decent set. We actually own this ourselves. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Best of Blue, the Best of Billy, original Blue Ranger. Safe House. Silent Hill. This wasn't terrible. I actually saw this in movie theaters. It wasn't quite, what it could have been, but as far as video game-based movies, it wasn't terrible. This is a Mill Creek 12 movie pack under fire. Bunch of military action movies. The Amityville Horror. This is the remake version. Cellular. The Blind Side. The 6 Degrees of Helter Skelter, America's Most Horrific Serial Killer, all about Charles Manson, and then includes a bonus movie, Boneyard. The unrated widescreen edition of American Pie presents Bandcamp. Stack number 2, An American Werewolf in Paris. Groundhog Day. The Breakup. A 20-episode collection of The Lucy Show. collector's edition of The Crying Game. It's a really cool cover. I like the look of that one. Blade 1, 2, and 3. So all 3 of those Blade movies. Saw 3 collector's edition. Paranormal Activity 2. Van Helsing. Breach. Saw 6, the director's cut. A Laurel and Hardy double feature. We have The Flying Deuces and Utopia. Spaceballs. Something's Gotta Give. Disney Learning Adventures. Mickey's Seeing the World. Around the World in 80 Days. Will Smith in 7 Pounds. One Night at McCool's. Resident Evil Apocalypse. Sublime, the unrated edition. Love Actually. A couple of these laugh out loud collections, just selections of horrendous comedy movies like Paul Blart Mall Cop and Jack and Jill, and this trash. But there is an audience for them, so I stick the 2 of these together, and someone will want that. Species 2 and 3. Couldn't find Species 1 in there. Weird to see those. The Boondock Saints, the unrated special edition. Another copy of Hilary Duff Learning to Fly. I grabbed another one of those last week, I believe. Then we have James Bond, Tomorrow Never Dies. Insidious Chapter 3. Red Tails. This is actually one of my favorite terrible movies. It's horrible. But we have Jason X, the sci-fi Jason movie. It is a terrible movie. And the reason why I watched it ever in the first place, I rented it from, I think, Blockbuster or something, is because I was a big fan of Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda. You know, multiple people from that are in this. And it's a terrible movie. But it's just one of those, I remember having such a good time with a bunch of friends renting it and watching that. We have Jurassic Adventures, a 4-movie collection of dinosaur-themed movies. We have one of the many versions of The Lost World, Return to the Lost World, Journey to the Center of the Earth, and Adventures in Dinotopia. It's kind of an interesting little collection. The Exorcism of Emily Rose, College Road Trip, Bad News Bears, Saw 5, so a handful of the Saw movies, Perfect Stranger, Shall We Dance, Stephen King's Pet Sematary, the collector's edition, a greatest hits collection of Our Gang, Little Rascals set, this season's 1 and 2 Ugly Betty DVD and collector's set, Seinfeld season 4, Jerry Lewis as Family Jewels, Jason Statham in Safe, Serenity, August Rush, sealed copy of that, Bachelor Party, an early Tom Hanks comedy, Just Go With It, Saw 2, Crash, Casting Crows, The Altar and the Door, Chaos, Scream 3, and The Bucket List. That's it for the DVDs. Now I'll get into the VHS and then a ton of music finds. First up on VHS, this nice Civil War journal hosted by Danny Glover. This VHS set, it's actually pretty interesting and in like beautiful condition, so that was a good one to find. And then pull this up here. We have one of these old CBS Fox. I love this style, and at first I was like, oh my gosh, beta maybe, because you'll see them usually in these styles. Nope, VHS, but we have Marty, and these are just cool. I love really early VHS versions. A sealed copy of Return to Snowy River, In Sync in the Mix, the official home video, Disney World 2000, Celebrate the Future. One of these A&E biography tapes. These can be pretty cool because a lot of them are not available then on DVD and stuff. There's a whole bunch, especially for a lot of old celebrities. But this one is Milton Hershey, the Chocolate King. And I grew up near Hershey, PA, so that's cool. Sandra Bullock in Forces of Nature. Harrison Ford in Witness. Again, yeah, interesting movie to watch considering I grew up around Amish country. Treasures of the Twilight Zone. Collection of a bunch of episodes on a 2-tape set. Then we have a Ken Burns. Anything PBS Ken Burns is always going to be great. Lewis and Clark. It's a 2-tape set. This is really cool. I might have to quit my job and use this tape to become my true self, because I feel like this is perfect. Becoming a master, the ultimate Pokemon experience. Yeah, so watch this 2-tape set and you will become a Pokemon master. Look at that kid. He is living life. Look at that. This is hilarious. Insiders look at real Pokemon tournaments. Learn how to become a master. Learn trading and training tips and techniques. That was so funny. Then moving into the cassettes, got a bunch of just random cassettes, TV themes. There we have some Joan White and Madonna, Like a Virgin. Bette Midler. Mary Chapin Carpenter. Pam Tillis. What is this one? The Coasters and the Drifters. I forgot what that one was. Grabbing so many. Teresa Brewer. And Dr. Zhivago soundtrack. And moving on to music CDs, and I grabbed a ton there was a bunch there that were in really good condition. I actually grabbed 2 copies of this one that deluxe edition. I'm like, alright, I'll grab it. No idea who this person is, but hey, it looks good, and for a few cents. Ally McBeal, Lionel Richie collection. Then we have Emily Skinner and Alice Ripley duets. Peropska 1. Michael Bolton, vintage. The Best of Stan Keaton and his orchestra. Caroline or Change, a new musical, is a 2-disc set. An older Amy Grant. Medicine Flutes. Train, Drops of Jupiter. Andrea Bocelli, I've met a bunch of his, actually there's a bunch mixed in here, as well as Celine Dion, found a handful of those, so she's kind of mixed in here as well. Jennifer Page, Crush. The soundtrack to Braveheart, and Evita. Some more Celine Dion. Visual Cliff. A bunch more here. And some more Celine Dion as well. Definitely love with CDs when I can find, especially when they're more common stuff, a bunch that is the same artist or some same style or something. Echoes of Tradition. The Bare Naked Ladies. Benea Tang on Warm Strangers. Pioneer, the band Perry. John Tesh, The Power of Love. Rent, a multi-disc set. Adam Lambert. Miss Saigon. Now that's what I call Music 52. Carmen, the absolute best. I actually know who this guy is. It's Christian music. Because of a Red Letter Media episode. It's always really funny when I sometimes see this oddball stuff and I was like, I actually know what that is because of those guys. Open the Eyes of My Heart, another Christian thing. We got a couple in here. Diamond Rio, Bodyguard soundtrack, Sandy Path, and Enrico Caruso. Some more Michael Bolton, some Barbra Streisand, Point of Grace. Whole bunch of stuff there, And then randomly only one book find. That was the one thing that was completely lacking, is there just is not a good selection of books, but we have The Serial Killer Files. Thought that was worth grabbing. And yeah, so that was everything in the bargain room. Then I actually found some stuff in the regular room, but it was still, it wasn't quite the ridiculousness of the past couple of days, but everything there was around $50. Everything I've shown so far in this video. So that was still really good. And then I went next door and I found a few just oddball things. It was really weird. And I found 3, and they're slightly different versions, old telephones, and you're like, what in the heck? Trust me, these will sell, especially in the box, and they're really good condition. The one looks like it's just an open box, and they only wanted $1.99 each. So they will sell for 10 times that. So I will definitely grab these. Some people want them to fill like a room. A lot of people they try and do like a room in their house that looks like a certain era. And a lot of times different phones like that will be good, or sometimes even like for like film sets, especially like indie films, finding some cheap things. Some people just nostalgically want something, and that type of stuff, like old telephones and things. I've sold them before. If you can get them cheap, they definitely will go. A couple of things in the DVDs. We have the History Channel presents The Alamo, a big set of those, and another one of these for-year consideration, an Emmy consideration. This is from the Netflix series with Ricky Gervais, is Derek. I've never seen that before. Never seen that Netflix show, but especially from like streaming stuff, it's kind of a cool thing, a little collectible. And then the last couple things, it was really weird, and I think I took a few pictures if I remember. I'll put them up here. Of in the bargain bins and then in the main room both, there was a huge selection of bootleg discs and like Chinese brand like knockoff versions of stuff. Like, I'm talking hundreds. They were everywhere, loose, just like DVD-Rs and DVD-RWs, like real like bottom of the barrel homemade stuff. And then there was a whole bunch of the Chinese and like Hong Kong region box sets of TV shows. And I always look through those because there's kind of 2 varieties. Sometimes there's the real cheap, just kind of garbage, is make the same thing at home in like 5 minutes type deal. And other times they actually are fairly nice box sets, and they can be of comparable quality to what you see on streaming and stuff. You never really know. And I look through because sometimes there'll be a show that is hard to find or out of print in the official like release within North America, but you find this Chinese knockoff that's actually like, sometimes they're even like a pressed disc, like sometimes they're actually decent, and that could be a good venue. Or a couple of ones that I've had for many years are Japanese shows with English subtitles made for Hong Kong, and they have both, like usually it's like they're in Japanese, the audio, and then they have an option for either like Mandarin and then Cantonese and then English for subtitles, and that's a way of actually getting some media that was not released here at all, and like really good condition. Man, I've had a couple of them since the like early 2000s. Still work just fine. I was just watching some Hanakimi a couple weeks ago, just great. So I always look through those because you never know whether it's for ourselves or something someone else might want, and I always check them out. There's a whole bunch, and one would be this Moonlighting DVD set, which they're harder to find, and like this is a nice, it's a wood box, and you pull it up, and it's actually like a decent set, and the discs are just fine. And while I was taking off some stickers, still have a lot more stickers to take off, I was checking some of these out, and they all play just fine, just playing through some random things in the background. And again, at least as good as like streaming qualities. It's like, alright, it's like found one, and then they got me with some Star Trek, and it's like, not like I need the Star Trek on DVD, but, and they're not official, but a variation of Star Trek that's not in the collection. Like, I have PAL and everything else, and Japanese versions, and like, alright, I gotta grab these. So I grabbed the few that they had. They had Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 5, and these were all $2 to $3 a piece. So I was like, alright, I'll grab the ones that they have. But Season 5 and Season 3 of TNG, and they're just half decent little, like the discs are actually fine sets. And they had Enterprise Seasons 2 and 3. and they're all either region free, or the back they might say region 1 because sometimes they take the artwork from an official release, but they're all going to be like region free releases, and they're just these thick cardboard ones, or in this case, this actually has like some wood. It's like crazy, and just fascinating. It's like, all right, for a couple bucks a piece to have a variant of Star Trek, I will grab these and I will be checking them out and watching through these versions just to as a curiosity. Star Trek. I can't pass up Star Trek. So that was everything today. And again, I'm back just about every day this week until they stop the trucks. So this was just a crazy way to start the week. I have so much to sort through on top of having so much from the previous few weeks. It's just crazy, but it's really good to be able to build up this massive backstock. So the closing of this facility, I won't feel the hit immediately. I won't feel for a long time because it was such a big backstock from them cleaning out things and giving stuff away really, really cheap. That's kind of why I'm like loading up big time. And man, am I loading up big time. Yeah, a lot to go through. I'm going to go watch some knockoff Star Trek while I take off stickers and get things listed.